it. Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Spotlight webinar. I'm your host, Amanda, and this is a webinar obviously sponsored by yours truly, Proboxx. Proboxx is your all-in-one digital freight forwarding solution where we have a platform that you can manage your quotes, see your shipments in real time, upload your documents, manage reports, all at the touch of a button, available to you 24/7. And this week's Spotlight webinar is with Dobby Ads. Now, I came across Dobby Ads a few months ago and I was so impressed with their product and what they offer. I wanted to bring this to you guys because that it's a very special, unique way of creating images and visuals for your listings and your content. And I know it is a much better option for people who want to save on photographer costs and videography costs. And today with me is Stephen Clarke. He's the business development consultant for Dobby Ads, and Stephen has a passion for organization management and a clean desk. Come and do my office, please, Stephen. And in your spare time, you love sports and cooking and being in nature. Welcome, Stephen.
Hey, yeah. Hi, Amanda. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on today.
Nice to have you. I love the Irish accent. It's great. So in this call, we're going to delve into the importance of stunning visuals for your product. We're going to explore the pivotal role that visuals have in the e-com world. We know that every interaction, or from product searches to delivery, revolves around content and visuals. And as a seller, you know that the old adage, content is king, is just so important. And driving sales and having content and visuals that are compelling are so important. So Dobby Ads, as I mentioned, have a unique way of doing this. And Stephen's going to take us through that today on how they do that and what they do. So over to you, Stephen.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Amanda. So yeah, I think that's it. What we want to do today is talk about the importance of visuals in the e-commerce landscape, but definitely into the future, and really just kind of like making that point for Amazon sellers and anyone selling in an e-commerce landscape, how it's going to be super important to not only apply the technologies that are available today at a really high standard, but to really to be learning about and looking to apply the newer technologies, 3D, AI content that are coming on really quickly, and over the course of it, a few slides to discuss how Dobby Ads and the team at Dobby Ads are helping all of our clients to do that as well. So I guess, yeah, from here, what I might do is just share my screen. We've kind of prepared just a small set of slides, really just to sort of guide us through this. But as I say, this can be a pretty good discussion. Just Amanda, that's come up okay on the topic side?
Yeah, that looks great. Got it loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, great. So like that's the topic for today really is to cover the importance of visuals in the e-commerce world. And what we want to do is we want to just kind of quickly take a quick scope of the landscape and how things have developed over the last 15 or 20 years, and just why it's become so important to have these amazing visuals. So I think what the best thing to do is to really just take a step back and kind of look at how things have developed over the last 15, 20 years, really since the likes of Amazon has come on and Shopify in 2006. So probably the two most well-known e-commerce platforms and probably most widely used. These are just some examples of the work that Dobby Ads is doing. But like, Amanda, I suppose maybe just to ask you, like, would it be fair to say that you've done some form of shopping online in the last month, or more than once, perhaps?
Yeah, that would be a very fair call, because I actually find now that as I'm more time poor, I'm doing more and more shopping online. So as I think a lot of people are, I mean, especially during COVID, right? Everybody was shopping online. So yeah, definitely a yes.
No, I know it's the case myself, and kind of everybody, I'm sure, who's going to go on and listen to our call today will probably agree as well. But I think, yeah, that you touched on the point there. I think, like, if we look at the wide lens of last 10, 15, 20 years, that ever increasing availability of more and more products and services to buy online. But then we narrow in a little bit more to the last 3 to 4 years with the pandemic. This kind of shifted to a point where for a period everyone had to buy online.
Yeah.
It led to shopping for everything, and I think one of the interesting ones is like even grocery shopping had to be done online. But I
Mhm.
think the point there is, or what we can see is that now that we've sort of come out of that period where it's, I guess, no longer a requirement to shop online, I think many people have still decided to continue to shop online. So that has been a massive shift that stayed and is probably only going to stay. And I
Yeah.
think narrowing in even more is just kind of on the accessibility piece. So we think of our phones and how easy it is to shop on our phones now, but like I think, look, that's been around. The smartphones have been around now for 5 or 10 years, so that's not new. But it's, I think, more the point of how the apps have developed, and how easy it is to save payment methods, and
Mhm.
just how you can literally complete a purchase within a couple of clicks. I think in some cases it can be 2 or 3 clicks, possibly on Amazon, if you have it set up properly. So like that's just an example of some of the key factors and shifts that have kind of created this landscape that we find ourselves in. Like in terms of, we mentioned Amazon, so like that was started in 1994 as like an online library store, but now you can literally buy everything. They account for about 40% of all US online sales. And then the kind of other real interesting player that we can think of is Shopify, who kind of came on in 2006. But what they offer is amazing, in that they give the ability for anyone to sell online, to set up a store again within a few clicks, and to sell their products or services online.
Yeah.
So I think, kind of taking a look at the landscape, that takes us to the question of, how do you stand out in this new environment? How do our Amazon sellers stand out, create that competitive advantage? And that's what I hope to go through in the next couple of slides, is looking at the types of visuals that we can utilize, how we can utilize them together, and then more so get on to the new types of visuals and content that are coming on stream, and how they can be used as well. And I think it's really important to think of how we can use this technology together, to create a really great experience from the moment the buyer first sees the product, to actually completing the checkout. So going to just try to go through that broken down into a few different sections over the next couple of slides. Starting simply is just the product image, the main image, the first image. Again, like Amanda, I suppose if you were scrolling on an Amazon listing of a certain product, like what is typically the first thing that gets your attention when you're just sort of scrolling through a store like that?
Yeah, well, I guess, if I'm just scrolling on a page, not a particular store, but when I'm scrolling, there's just so much content on one page. Everyone's screaming for attention, everyone's got their imagery up. The thing that, there's something different that stands out to me, and it's generally like something that's shot differently, or it's a different color, or it's got a different angle to everything else. It takes more of the space. I notice a lot of the listings sometimes, the hero photography is not necessarily, they're not working to Amazon sizing. So yeah, there's a couple of things there that for me that would stand out. That would be those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like even when I think of myself, especially when you're in a store and you don't necessarily know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Of course, there's instances where we know the product, we know the service, we know what we want, and we get it. But I think that's not always the case. I think more often is we're coming looking for maybe a certain type of product, or we're just scrolling maybe aimlessly sometimes. So I think it's really important, like we think of how people scroll these days. They don't necessarily know what they want, or even if we have an idea of the product we want, we're going to see 5 versions, 10 versions, 20 versions of that. So that's really the point there. Is it's the first point of how we stand out, how we create amazing visuals, how we ultimately as a seller can get customers to complete the purchase. So the point there is, it's absolutely critical that first image is high quality, It gives clear detail on what the product is. It stands out. It offers something different from everything else in the listing. And like one way I like to think of it is you can almost think of this first image as the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So it's the gatekeeper, and it's the difference between if a customer will click through to view the product in more depth or not. And you also made the point there, I think, we wanted to stress as well that Amazon uses these images, not just to show the customers in the search results, but also in like related, it can pop up in the related products or in the bestsellers section as well. So yeah, we want to, as a kind of pointer to stress that it's really important to follow the Amazon guidelines to a T, or any other platform's guidelines to a T. It needs to be clear, high quality, and compliant to those guidelines.
Yes.
So it doesn't avoid any listing issues. But okay, so we kind of have nailed the first image, or we've done a good job on the first image, and we've got the individual's attention. We've clicked through. But again, if we ask ourselves the question, is that going to be enough for me to go to the checkout and insert my card details? Probably not. So what becomes really important then is kind of the idea of product infographics. So giving us much more insight into the product. I think from my experience, like oftentimes we've clicked through and the details of the description, or kind of seeing more angles or inside the product has not existed. And you kind of feel let down about this, and the process can often end here. So we at Dobby like really take the approach. We have the mentality, and all sellers should do as well. The customers are extremely smart, they're extremely savvy. They want to know what they're getting into, so that they want to be able to see the front, the back, the sides, if possible, like inside the product. They want to be able to zoom in,
Yeah.
zoom out, zoom around.
Yeah. It's it's so important when you're buying online, because you're not like, it's not like you're in a retail store and you can touch the product, see the product, rotate the product. Yeah, so it's imperative that you can convey that through the imagery in the online space.
Absolutely. And I think as I'll go on in a couple of slides to show that technology has given us new ways to not obviously get in the store holding the product, but get much closer to that. So I would, we would suggest that a high quality product infographic, kind of like what you see on the screen here, is a must. It's a must, and it's kind of should be considered as a standard now. So it's kind of really making sure we've invested and we have a really high quality product infographic as mandatory, as a requirement. Otherwise we might not get the success that we want. And I think as well, with good infographics detailed, it shows the potential customer by showing all angles inside out, what's on offer. Is that it shows that you've nothing to hide. There's nothing missing from the product. There's nothing that we're trying to hide here. It gives you that closer look. And I think that's what can help win them over. It's just really showing them all aspects of the product.
Love it.
Kind of next then is video. So this is just a short video. I'm gonna click out to play to. Bear with me 1 second. It's just we just want to show it's an example of one of the videos that the team at Dobby are working on. Has that changed screen there for you, Amanda?
Yeah, I am a lady, young girl holding a skateboard. Yep.
Yeah. I'll just quickly say that.
Love it. Very fun.
That's just an example of like video content the team in Dobby have worked on here for a brand we work with called Teenology. That's kind of, that video is based around a campaign that they're running around the products they offer for teenagers to help reduce acne. So the campaign is #unfollowacne.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's just one example, but to kind of get onto it. So that's an example of a campaign video, but we also have dynamic and product based video. So again, when we ask ourselves the question, and in our experience, does video create a different layer, or does it add an extra impact? I think it definitely does.
Yeah.
Again, similar to product infographics, and where I'm going to go in the next few slides is, I think it's fair to say that video is essential now, whether it's a campaign video like that, or it's a kind of demo based video of your product. I think brands have been getting the edge by having really dynamic video and alongside their static and infographic images. I think it helps to keep the audience hooked in. I think it's going to make them more likely to purchase, but it also, what it does specifically on the product video side, is it shows the product in action. It can explain the benefits. It can give a real comparison maybe to competitive products, and all within under a minute. Again, best practice is always to try and keep those videos to 30 to 60 seconds. But yeah, again, really impactful. And as we're going through these slides, it's, again, I just want to stress, like, it's important not to be thinking of these as applying one of these types of visuals, but kind of like applying most or all of them, working well together to create that advantage. Okay, so like, we just want to kind of move on to kind of the new age type of content. So I think what we've yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think exactly. So yeah, I think kind of, we've looked at what's available, what's common, and we're just really reiterating it needs to exist for a seller. It needs to be there, and it needs to be of a really high quality to stand out. But now, how do we utilize new technologies coming on, and how do we get even better visuals? How do we save time? How do we save costs? And there's a lot of ways that we can do this, and a lot of the ways that we're applying this at Dobby Ads now, for our customers. Like, so look, firstly, it's just going back to the point on mobile, just to stress that, we know that more than 70% of customers these days, they're buying on their mobile or a smaller device, but we're still seeing like a lot of sellers have not necessarily made their visuals, made their content mobile friendly, so that it can be easily seen and read at arm's length. So it's just, again, really, really important that we ensure our content is mobile friendly in order to be able to target the majority, 70% of the audience correctly.
Yes.
But now I think, like, kind of getting onto the new forms of content that they're likely to become essential going forward in maintaining that competitive advantage. But I think for anyone listening, getting ahead of it now, it is really, really important. So the first of those is 3D content. So this is just two example images of a bed. From seeing that, Amanda, like, which one do you think was created using 3D software, and which image do you think was actually taken kind of in a studio setup, kind of with someone taking it with a photography with a real camera?
It's honestly so hard to tell. It really is. I guess the only thing I can think of is that maybe the one on the left with the blue wall was AI generated. Would that be right?
Yeah, it was. And I've had to ask I've had to ask multiple times, which, just to confirm, so I didn't get it wrong. But it is the one on the left was generated using 3D software. But like, again, it's kind of like, you're kind of picking, and it's impossible to tell. So look, the point there is that 3D content has advanced so much that it can produce this type of content, these types of visuals for sellers. But like, with 3D software, it's clearly making the creative process even stronger for brands who can utilize it. But what it also allows you to do, and like, look, this is just a bed, but we can think of some of the images we've seen on the slides as well, and we briefly touched on it earlier, is 3D content and AI based content, I think it can even further bring us to that position where we can virtually handle the product, we can view it from all angles, really get as close to it as possible. But with 3D content, it is really cost effective. It's kind of, it can be done really quickly, and I think that's where the huge benefits can come in. And it can, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go and set up a full studio or have multiple hours of recording or photography or taking photos.
Yeah,
And
the
that
studio
that
hire
re-
cost, the studio
yeah,
cost alone can be quite high. So that
it,
eliminates
it,
that.
exactly. I think like, you know, don't know the specifics, but I think like it's fair to say that a couple of hours studio setup photography for a couple of images of different products, you know, could be $1,000, $1,500, $2,000.
Yeah.
Whereas
Great.
you 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 could, yeah, you could create those images. You create those images with a vendor like Dobby Ads for kind of like $100 or less, in a shorter period of time. And as you can see on the screen here, we can't really spot the differences.
Amazing.
So that's 3D again. Like there's AI content. Like I think the point that we really want to make here from a, you know, Dobby perspective is, and it's obviously AI is the buzzword of the moment. It's like we're not unique to be on this call, this webinar today, and mention AI. I'm pretty sure mentioned probably on every webinar in the world at the moment. So it's obviously, it's the buzz of the moment. You know, there's so many new tools coming available. The growth is incredible. What this can mean though is like for an Amazon seller, for someone just trying to sell their really great brands in an e-commerce platform and create great visuals, is it might become really overwhelming to think, I have to keep up with this growth, I have to keep up with all of these tools. And what we want to say is like, that's the job of, you know, a provider or a vendor like us here at Dobby Ads. It's our responsibility. We've been a first mover with introducing AI and 3D content into our content creation services. And it's our job to focus on finding these tools, developing these tools, using these tools, and allowing our customers to kind of rest easy and just focus on their business critical issues, like their brands, their developing their products. But again, with AI content, it is a huge asset. And it's going to be a huge time and cost saver in producing world-class content. So yeah, I think that's kind of the point, is like the 3D technology, the AI technology is developing at a huge rate. And Dobby Ads is really focused on those and have been for the past couple of years. And we're trying to do it in a way that, you know, allows our customers not to have to worry about it too much, not have to feel like they need to be using the tools. So yeah, and I think kind of in terms of this new age content, one final piece we want to bring in and think of bringing it all together is just the idea of user generated content. Now bear with me, I'm going to jump back out in and just play this short TikTok style video. That's come up okay, Amanda, just to play?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
about that. How is this actually someone like an Instagram, what do they call them, influencer?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Now I don't know who that individual is themselves, but user generated content and the impact that these visuals can have now, especially when we think of the types of audience that you may be selling to. But like that was an example of that we've built for one of the customers we work with, Gentle Home. It's a TikTok style video. It's short, it's snappy. It includes multiple different types of visuals, kind of some basic, easy to understand text, giving you an understanding of the product and the impact of the product.
Yeah.
But what this type of content is doing, more importantly, is it's showing a real customer using your product in real life. And I
Yeah.
think what
Powerful.
we know is like that further builds trust. It drives more engagement. And I mean, brands might apply it differently. They might have an influencer using their product that their audience will know the influencer, and that will drive them to buy it more. But I even think as effective as that is, not in maybe the influencer side, but just a normal regular person using their product,
Yeah.
just using the product simply,
Yeah.
could help me to be more encouraged to buy it as well. So
Yeah.
um
So would
yeah.
that be part of your strategy? Say, I'm an Amazon seller and I come to you and I'm like, I want you to help me with my visuals and my videos. Would that be something that you can include in a strategy? Like, or do you kind of do you customize kind of what your packages to what the client needs, or do you have sort of separate packages for
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, no, it's very much a case of like, look, that kind of every client is unique. Every client is different. They have different needs. They have different brands. So I think that initial or that consultative type approach is what we've implemented and really strive for, is working with the client on what is their brand, like what is the vision, what is the visual that they're trying to present, like what is the kind of environment they're trying to create around that brand or that product, and work towards that. But I think, and like one of the questions we really want to answer today is what is required, like what do we need? And obviously when a client comes to us, if they can provide a raw video of a user using the content or using the product, amazing. If they can provide raw videos and images, it's great. Obviously, the more the better. But I think it's very important to stress that, a provider like us here at Dobby, we can do a lot of the work we've seen here today. That work can often be produced and has been produced with maybe just one image, or even just a PDF file that is a brief, a brief of what our product is and what we're looking to create.
Wow.
So I think that's really important to stress, is like, if you can give us loads of images and videos and an
Yeah.
influencer using your product that's raw, we can turn it into the likes of the images and videos and video TikTok videos we've shown today, but not to feel under pressure that you have to do that. Even just having a brief or an idea or a vision of what you want to achieve from the outset, working with the team here, we
And
can bring that.
So using the
Yeah.
AI software that you have and the 3D capabilities, I could literally just send you a PDF and say, hey, this is all I've got. Build me
Yeah,
out hero images, infographics, videos,
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
just that.
And
Wow.
that's it. And like they say, Dobby kind of covers everything around the content strategy, the brand strategy that we're trying to create, how we kind of present it, all of the different forms of visuals, types of content we've discussed today are part of what the team do at Dobby. As I said, we really like to use multiple types of these content, all of them, because it's like we just continue to layer and layer and layer, and that just is only going to increase the effectiveness of
Yeah.
what we're doing. But yes, if we're starting with a conversation based on a PDF document of, here's our product, this is what our product does, this is the audience that it's for, and we want to create it in a sort of a, for a teenage audience, we can work off that. And then it's a case of iteration. I think the Dobby team, the design team, does really well, and often gets out really great content that our customers take on. But it's a kind of maybe working together to iterate on a couple of times, is when we maybe are starting from a blank canvas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that, but I also love the fact that you can do all of this, and I know this sounds really bad, but this is where the future's going, right? With AI, it is cutting out a lot of those services that traditionally, like the photographer, the studio hire, the videographer. I mean, yes, there is still going to be a need for that, and it's not saying it's going to cut them out completely, but I guess for a lot of people, especially sellers, when you're starting out, you might have a limited budget, you know, and you can't, you know, stretch the dollar to go to those level of that sort of type of service. That the fact that you guys have this service where we can still create all of those things that we need to launch or to grow, and it's at a fraction of the price of, you know, traditional photographer costs, and really high.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly it. And again, like another, like I totally agree. And it's also, we go back to that point of maybe for these sellers, whether they're experienced, the product's been on for years, or they're kind of new and they're trying to just get up and running. That especially in those cases, they need to be focused on their product, the development of their product, kind of the business side of things. And that's why it's really important where you can sort of leave this side to Dobby, you know, the understanding 3D, understanding AI, what are the tools, how to use the tools, how to use the tools effectively, how to bring a vision or a strategy to life. That's kind of where the Dobby team comes in. And yes, like the types of software, they're going to mean the work can be done quicker. It can be iterated on quicker as well, probably iterated on better, and ultimately will be more cost effective. I think, just the kind of final point that we wanted to make, you know, just tying everything together, say, just to reiterate that we've looked at a number of types of content, visuals today, and really just want to stress that you've got your more basic elements that we need to be implementing and using at a really high standard to stand out. But how to get that edge in this landscape we talked about at the start is looking to 3D and AI based content, and really that's where Dobby can come in and to help. And you know, we've seen this with our customers. So customers who've been using our services, they are getting around a 30% increase in their conversion rates when they're using content services like this, and specifically implementing the video and the user generated content style of video. We've seen customers get even as close to like a 40% increase in their conversion rate. So yeah, I think it's just really, really important. And that's, and the kind of final point we just wanted to stress, you know, for anyone who's listening is, you know, we are a global company. A lot of our customers have been to date kind of based in the US. Obviously that's where Amazon is so big, but we've customers in the UK and EMEA, in the Middle East, in Australia as well. So yeah, just very much making that point that we can serve the global market. And yeah, I think
the benefits of being able to do all of this work online and have you know, the power of the software is just incredible. Thank you so much, Stephen. It's been amazing, and I hope and I'm sure actually our listeners will enjoy this, because this is, I think, the way of the future. And there's so many benefits there for people engaging with you guys. Now, I know you might have a little special offer for us. Did you want to share that?
Yeah, so we just, for all the listeners, we are going to be able to just offer a 20% discount on all first orders for the first 5 people who listen to the webinar and who want to avail of the service. So that's the 20% discount on all first orders. And all you need to do is simply come to the Dobby Ads website, dobbyads.com, sign up. It's very clear on the landing page. Just sign up in the normal process, and just leave a note in the sign up process that you came from the Proboxx Dobby webinar, and we'll look after the rest. But outside of that, again, we encourage all the listeners to just come to our website, see the offering, and just sign up, even if it's just for, you know, a conversation, by all means. And even, you know, it might be a case that today's not when you need the content, but just going into the future, just simply sign up on our website and we'll be happy to have a conversation. But yeah, that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, Stephen. That was really insightful. And I will, once we upload this recording, I'll pop that offer in the description as well, with a link to your website, so that people can jump on and get in touch with you guys and go from there.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. No, I really appreciate it, Amanda. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Stephen. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.